All right.
Do I smell onions?
You do smell onions. You know what it is? This absolute troll of a human being consumed a wrap loaded with onions that Hayes probably bought for her.
I think it
God.
smells great.
No,
love onions.
I did
no.
not know it was. It's stinking up the whole
You
studio.
know what? You legit smell like
Oh
the
my
SpongeBob
God.
SquarePants
Like
onion
the green
sundae.
smoke and everything?
Yes. Literally ruining the studio.
I did not know there was going to be this many onions on the on the wrap. It was so good. I can admit it. It's horrific.
I love it. I love onions.
You can
Oh, no,
smell
I love onions, but I don't want to
You can
smell
smell
it.
it over there way behind the
Do you
camera.
see this green Look, folks, you're not watching. There's a green cloud in the studio.
There is. I'm
That's
sorry.
our aura.
If you're listening,
Yeah, it's pretty
or if
green.
you're watching and you smell it, I'm sorry. George, I'm sorry. This is the first and last time I will ever
Sunday.
apologize to you. I am sorry. I did not
Do you
know.
remember that episode?
Hell yeah, I remember.
Oh, Sunday.
I'm like, so George.
So we're not ugly. We stink. Anyway, so you know what? It's so great to be back with everybody. Naja, you're insane. Stop eating onions before we record.
Sorry. I'm just going through a lot right now.
Yeah, you think I care?
You're going to because I'm going to make you. So you need to tread lightly today. I'm excited about meeting today's guest, but George, don't piss me off.
Oh, you think
not today.
PMSing is like a card? Like, I'm PMSing, leave me alone? No,
I'm
I'm
just
just going to
telling-
be extra dicky to you then today.
No, it's not going to work. You need to be Zeke.
Okay. Oh,
Liar, pants on fire. Liar, pants on fire.
Anyway, so today's guest, folks, on Pants on Fire is going to be interesting because it's more of a self-analyzing episode about, well, me. Not to make it all about me, myself, and I. We are going to be bringing today two of my three amazing attorneys to really just talk, shoot the shit, and, you know, what is it like to represent George Santos? I mean, Naja, how curious are you to ask these guys some questions?
I know on one hand what it's like to directly work with you, but these people are representing you in one of the biggest fights of your life. So
The fight of my life.
in the fight of your life. And so I have a lot of questions for them. What type of client are you? Are you a jerk to work with for them as well? Are you likable or are you an asshole to them as well? Are you, I just
Wait.
wanna know. Right?
As well. When was I ever an asshole
You
to
just
you?
picked that up. No, you actually have not been an asshole. to me. I can't even say that. But I just want to know what it's like. And I think these guys are going to maybe directly or indirectly maybe humanize you because, George, look how you're sitting right now. Perfectly polished, hands perched, great posture, face is done, beat to the gods. I don't know if I've seen you sweat, cry, and I wouldn't see that as your
Botox
coworker.
don't let me sweat.
Touche. But I really want to know what these guys think of you.
Well, you know what? Instead of speculating, come on down, Joe Murray and Andrew Mancilla. Well, welcome, Andrew Mancilla and Joe Murray. So, a lot of people, Ms. Naja, I really feel bad for these guys because they're like probably the best people in my life, but
Yeah.
also the ones that take the most abuse. And a lot of that abuse comes from me. And Barone, you wouldn't even understand the level of abuse. It's 6 o'clock in the morning call, or it's the 11:30. It's 5:30.
Sometimes, yeah.
And then sometimes the 11:30 at night rant about my case with Jimmy Kimmel. So, and he's just like, George, we're just waiting. So anyway, let's start off by introducing yourself. So Andrew, you can go first and we'll go to Joe, but
Sure.
Andrew, go ahead.
My name is Andrew Leopoldo Mancilla.
Don't do the sexy voice, Andrew.
Oh,
Come on.
it was me.
I'm Andrew Mancilla. I'm an attorney. I am also like a musician, and I now started a tech company.
You started a tech company and I didn't find out. Why am I finding that out here?
We're in stealth mode.
He's amazing.
So in all fairness, so I didn't know Andrew was a musician
I'm
until
so interested in learning
somewhat last year, mid last year. We were in his office doing, case stuff, and I look at this art in the wall, and it's just very psychedelic. He's like, "Oh yeah, it was for my album cover." I'm like, "You're what?"
Yeah, because that's exactly how I talk. Oh yeah, that's from the album.
So I literally go and obviously go on Spotify and then start listening to some of his songs. And he has this one song that I really liked. It Wasn't Me. Is that what it's titled? It wasn't
It
me.
wasn't
Yeah,
me.
it's so good.
Oh, thanks.
So,
So
just so you know, I just started learning metal drums. Like, I want to be a drummer in a metal band. So, do you guys have an opening for a drummer?
I mean, I technically don't have a band. It's just
Oh.
me
Is
it
write
Bobby
music
the
and then I
drummer?
bring it. Yeah, Bobby's a drummer.
Bobby's a
my
drummer.
law partner is a drummer.
Let's get rid of Bobby. I'm available.
I think he's already taken care of that.
Let's get rid of Bobby.
Oh, you ain't heard that, I.
Well, yeah, Bobby is definitely sick, according to him. Yeah, right. Real
Can't
sick.
wait till he listens to this.
If you need a
can't-
backup drummer, call me.
You know what? No,
Seriously.
just like
Hired.
We can be like Team George.
Bongos.
dump Bobby and just make it Mancilla Hall.
Ooh, that's like Hall & Oates. Hall and Mancilla. Hall and Man.
Instead of Mancilla Fantone, just make it Mancilla Hall. I think
That has a really good ring.
I know it.
We
does.
should talk after
I
this.
thought about this for a while.
Yep.
So Joe Murray is somebody I go way back with, and it's
Yes.
funny because Joe's been my guy from the outstart, right?
Yeah.
And the funny thing is the way we met was I hated Joe. I loathed Joe because
No.
How is that possible?
so I'll explain. I'm very partisan in my politics, and we all know that.
Right.
After Joe, I changed a lot. Up until I met Joe, I hated Democrats. I thought Democrats, if they were drowning, I wouldn't throw them a life raft if I had 10.
that's really mean.
But that was the conditioning I had politically. And I meet Joe, and here's why I hated Joe. When Joe ran for Queens County DA, he was a Democrat. Like, I want nothing to do with him. I was literally awful to him. And then I met him. And I'm like, oh, he's so nice.
He is the nicest man. It is unbelievable how nice
So for
he
those
is.
of you that are listening and not watching, I encourage you to go to our YouTube and watch this because you need to see Joe. Joe,
You can't hate Joe.
You need to
At
see
least
Joe.
not long form.
Joe looks perfect today. When he walked in, I said, "Oh my God, who is this?" His
That
tie
was my
perfectly
reaction.
compliments his complexion, and he just looks like the nicest guy. You look like the nicest guy. So
He's the
we'll
nicest
see.
guy.
Really?
Thank you.
Dude.
Oh my
Joe,
God.
please. I'm not going to speak
So
for you.
guys,
but
I am going to be biased. I'm
Well-
probably going to be talking to Joe most of the time because I just like Joe.
Of course you are. And that's every other woman that I know.
Really?
When they meet Joe,
Oh,
they're
he
like,
has this effect.
Joe Murray.
Silver fox.
And I'm like, Angela's going to kill you.
Just ask any one of my ex-wives.
Joe, how many ex-wives do you have?
I officially have two.
Damn.
Two.
Damn. It's okay. You married now?
No.
What about
Officially two,
unofficially?
but how many unofficial?
Well, so I was a domestic partner with one. You know, my brother made fun of me. He was like, "That's like a gay marriage. You were married."
You had a
I was like, "Well, okay." So three.
So two-ish, three.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many kids, Joe?
Two, but not from any one of my three wives.
Damn.
So
Joe-
she was another woman that we just never got married.
So then that's like four.
I have an expiration date on my relationships. They just seem
What's the
So
longest?
is your current your longest?
probably yeah. No, my second wife. Was
So is
like
Angela now second to longest?
second to longest.
Okay, so you're gonna take it on home with this one. This is the.
I mean,
this
he's
is
not
the
getting
one.
any younger. Your dating pool
Yeah.
shrinks after
I
a
know,
certain
I
age.
know.
But he's a really good looking guy. I have an aunt who's 72 years old. She meets him
Oh, I love
throughout
her.
my entire trial process, and she calls me after she meets him. She's like, "Is your attorney single?" I'm like, "You're 72
She's my
years
speed
old.
dog.
What are you doing?"
She's,
You know
She's like, "You don't understand what that man
kicks a
did
few
to me."
back, you know.
Wow.
She literally goes like, "You don't understand what that man did to me." I'm like, "What did he do to you?"
Wait, don't tell me. Don't tell me.
Tell me this, Joe. For our listeners and our viewers to be able to understand our relationship, we meet back in 2019 when you're running for district attorney,
Queens District Attorney.
and kind of like give me your side because I want you to tell people how you viewed me as a.
I gotta tell you, I mean, it's funny to hear you say that, and I remember that because I got that reaction from a lot of people.
Yeah.
But when I met you, it was at Vicky Palladino's club.
New York City councilwoman from
Yeah,
Queens.
she's now a New York City councilwoman, but this before she got
Yeah.
elected. And somebody had pointed you out to me as George Santos. He may be running against Swazi, to run for Congress, which that's my district.
Yeah.
So I had even more of an interest to meet him. And I saw him work in the room, and he's just so bubbly and friendly and happy. And I was like, this guy, wow, I got to meet this guy. And then when I
hated you.
he was kind of cold and, not disinterested. And, I was like, okay, but I'm used to that.
You're
Listen,
being shady towards him.
I'm a retired New York City cop. Trust me. I've been treated, much worse.
Well, look, I didn't
So-
throw milk over you. It could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
I was just so partisan at a point in my life.
Yeah.
Today, I'm definitely not. I mean, I voted for Eric Adams, and I'm going to vote to reelect him at this point.
Yeah, so we met, and amongst other people that I met there, and I was very interested in that he was running because that's my district, and I was concerned about, who would be taking over the helm over there, especially as a Republican. And I was concerned because, I've been a long-term Democrat in New York City. I was very close with Jim McManus. He was the district leader in Midtown, the Midtown Democrat Club, and he kind of broke me into politics because I was a cop, a New York City cop in Midtown North, where his district is.
Do you remember the interaction?
Indifferent. I was just like, oh, nice to meet you. And he extended his hand, and
He
I
was
kind
a
of
little
didn't extend it
short.
back.
He was a little short with
Yeah.
me. I was engaging him, but I'll tell you what had happened. We were going to the same campaign stops,
Yep.
and a lot of them were the anti-police. That was the big thing around that time. And I was outraged that our elected officials, including the district attorneys, are sitting on their hands while this whole
You're like, hey, this group that I
anti-police.
represent is being attacked. Can somebody say something?
Yes,
Can you
as
throw
a
us bone?
Democrat.
And I'm very pro-police.
As a Democrat and
You're pro a lot.
a criminal defense attorney,
Now, remember, this is a city that either makes you or breaks you. You're not from New York City, Andrew, right?
I'm from a small town.
So
Where you
you're
from?
Upstate New York. Clifton Springs.
So this,
Trump 2028.
which is the furthest thing from the truth. You're full of shit because I don't think you ever cast a ballot for Trump.
I can't be political in my business.
Yeah, that's smart.
That's smart.
Nonpartisan.
That's smart.
So
Do you vote privately?
he does vote
I'm sorry.
privately.
Did someone say something? God?
Barone is
You?
the voice of God here, by the way. Do you vote privately?
God? I plead the fifth.
Okay. Oh, okay. So I learned a whole lot about pleading the fifth too. He taught me all of it.
You don't take your own shit. Do
and
you
about
do it?
and about objections.
I plead the fifth and
Shut up.
I plead the fifth, but I have a podcast.
No. So all joking aside, you're
that's so
from
funny.
upstate New York,
Yeah.
small town USA, right? Fair to say.
yeah, Clifton
Yeah.
Springs.
New York City is
Let's go back to talking about this though. I like this debate.
Hold on. So New York City makes or breaks you.
Oh yeah.
I want to get into these representing George questions. I kind of know what it's like to work
You
with
do
him.
realize there's something called attorney-client privilege,
Well,
right?
listen.
So don't get too excited, okay?
Why in the hell? This is actually for both of you. Why would you represent this guy? What would make you choose?
That
Because I know
was
he ain't
easy.
paying you that much. So why
You
would
don't
you
know
choose
that.
to represent this guy?
That was easy. By that point, we became good friends because, like I said, I was running for my own.
I fell in love with
position.
him like by the second meeting, too.
And we kept running into each other at different events. And I got to tell you, a lot of these events, like when you go in, I remember getting there and I would go to, you're in a different, community that you're invited to go speak.
Yeah.
So you stand in the back, you don't know anyone, whatever. Then comes George, and he walks in, and he's talking that he remembers everyone's name. He knows what's going on in their lives. Like, I can't even
Clinton
remember
did that
what's
too.
going on in my life.
That's retail politician
and
is the best way to
he
go.
walks in there, and he talks, and he's laughing hysterical, and they're having fun with that.
Oh, have you met Joe?
I was
This is
like,
Joe. He's running for DA.
That's what he does.
He's
And
really good at that. I love going out with him.
He's so
He
good
does-
at that. He's just genuinely a good guy, and I got that right away.
So when it came time
So-
to say, when the thing happened, came
But wait,
time
it's
to-
even better.
I called
it's
him.
even better.
Okay.
So during COVID, my office was in the Silver Tower on Queens Boulevard, and then during COVID, they shut down the courts. They were shutting down buildings. So I moved to Nassau at a place
On Great Neck Road.
on Great Neck Road. I just don't want to, So I moved into this place, and he happened to. We weren't even talking. he moved into the same place, and I turned the corner in the office. I'm like, he's on the same floor,
Yeah.
right there. I was
Like,
like,
5-10
holy
doors
mackerel.
down, maybe something like that.
So yeah,
Allegedly. Hey, allegedly.
oh, the New York Times.
I've been accused of worse.
The New York
why we're
Times
here.
had a ball with that.
Oh yeah. Oh no, the New York Times
They
at
thought
one
it was some
point
conspiracy
said it was a
going on.
conspiracy.
because you two were
We were in the
building?
same shared office space.
Yeah.
So they thought it was like just one big office and he was running a front from me. It was like so
Yeah,
funny
yeah,
to watch
yeah.
the New York Times try
So
to
you
build
got
a narrative
sucked
out of it.
into the George
Hilarious.
machine already.
Are
Oh,
you
yeah, yeah.
kidding?
Okay.
When he
I'll
started
tell you, anyone that meets this guy and spends some time with him, you gotta like him. You can't walk away not liking him.
Oh, she hates me.
Tell
the more
the
she
truth,
meets,
not-
the
tell
more
the
she hangs
truth.
with me, she
Hate
hates me.
Hate. It was just magic to see, and that's why I was so offended about
Everything that-
the result and the expulsion, because he did everything we asked him to do.
I
Do you
mean,
believe that he was rightfully expelled?
No.
nobody does. That's very,
Absolutely
very
not.
low, even amongst actual non-partisan Democrats.
First of all,
very low approval rating
First
for
of all,
that.
the thing that offended me the most, and he held me back on this, everything he was accused of happened before he took his oath and was seated as a member of Congress. Congress has the ability to police themselves as members, but they don't have the ability to circumvent the voter and go back and say, well, we're kicking you out because you never should have been able to run. That's wrong. And that's what they did. There was nothing he did as a member of Congress that
My record as a member of Congress is pretty above board. I actually, at the time of my expulsion, I returned $600,000 of my member representational allowance back to the government in excess funds. Like I didn't overspend like a lot of members do, right? So my conservative approach in spending in Congress and how I was very, very frugal with federal dollars because I respect it to be the people's money. I sent it back, but it also opens a window for people who overspend because all the money, nothing really goes back to the treasury. It goes into a pot. So if you overspend, the money goes, oh, okay, George underspent. So here's some money to make up for your overspending. So that's how it works. So my time in Congress, nobody is able to look at anything I did, my work ethic, my conduct. The one conduct they try to accuse me of, I was exonerated of.
Which was what?
I had this troll try to work in my office and then say that I sexually assaulted him, and then I was exonerated by that. But that was so in the face, like that. People were
so
just trying to
obvious.
throw whatever
So
they could at
obvious.
me, and I was exonerated on that by the ethics committee. Like they said that the guy lacked credibility, integrity, and that his story couldn't be corroborated by a single of 12 people they interviewed. So he actually
Yeah.
gave people to corroborate the story, and none of them corroborated it for him.
That was part of the
The
ouster.
yeah, that was part of and
Wow.
and by the way, I look at how Congress is a serious place. In my expulsion, it says George Santos hereby expelled because as of whatever, he also committed sexual misconduct in his office. That's on the resolution
even though he was exonerated.
presented.
Even though we know it's not true.
No.
dirty.
Here's the thing: the report, the ethics report, exonerates me. The expulsion report, led by the chair of the committee, falsely accused me of sexual misconduct.
So that's something that has to be removed.
Well, it can't. The time to adjudicate it would have been in Congress when I debated it. And I couldn't get the votes for people to at least revisit the entire motion. The motion was flawed. There was in my expulsion motion, there are lies that unfortunately I can't civilly adjudicate because Congressman Michael Guest has congressional immunity. So I can't adjudicate civilly against him anything because he's shielded under the cloak of congressional immunity. So I can't do anything. It's just going to sit there in my record like I'm a sexual predator of some sort when it's not true because the document from his entire committee says otherwise. Do you see why
I
it's
dealt
not
with
popular, my expulsion? Because it was all messy and it was all personal attacks. Homophobia played a major role there, but I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah, I really think it was because George is an outsider, first time elected, first time member, and they couldn't control him, Republican or Democrat.
Outsider.
He scared the hell
Is it
out of
because
them.
he's gay or is he?
No, outsider. I'm not from I'm a first time. This was my first political.
He
job.
didn't come up through the ranks
I didn't
of
like
the
run
party.
for council and state senator or anything like
Yeah.
that.
You skipped a lot of important steps.
Well,
that
there's
people
no.
think are dues to pay, so you didn't pay the.
I never paid dues.
He terrified them. I dealt with the ethics committee, which was a joke. They are absolute morons in that committee. I mean, just to name one thing, they were demanding to know who were his bail suretors. Demanding to know.
Why do they need to?
It was under seal by a
Because they're
judge.
looking for anything that, as a member of Congress, you received a benefit from someone.
Mm-hmm.
And if it was a constituent or whatever, it compromises your integrity.
Oh.
He didn't. He had family members. So they were under seal by a Article
judge.
3 federal judge under seal. Family members are an exception.
Mm-hmm.
So without naming them, I cited to the exception, and it was like they couldn't figure that out. So I cited to all the sections because I have to
But
be
they're
careful
idiots.
about my judge telling me, this is under seal, don't identify these people.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to show them, here's where they fall into the exception.
Okay.
And it was just like went in one ear, out the other.
They wanted names.
Thank you so much, Joe, for skirting around that answer as you said you would. Andrew, I'm hoping for a straighter answer. How did you get looped in with George?
Joe told me to.
That was enough, though. Was that just enough?
And like straight up, what is it like? What's the day-to-day experience? Is he an exemplary client?
Yeah, actually. Yeah, he's
He
wonderful.
is?
He's nice and he listens. And that's honestly all that
That's tough.
I take a
want.
direction. I'm easy to train.
Yeah.
Ask Matt.
And
You can
he's
ask
really
Matt too.
smart. Honestly, like he's really, really intelligent.
Really?
Yeah.
And I know that about him, but to the people listening or watching, I think there might be a misconception on
No,
this guy's
he's
level of
straight up
intelligence.
genius.
Can you talk
Oh, yeah.
talk some more about how his
100%.
brain works?
I don't know about.
I don't know
genius.
how it works, but you are a genius, 100%.
I
He
just did my
remembers
I just did my IQ test.
everything.
It's kind of
Yeah.
weird.
He knows people, which is just a skill set that we don't have enough of on this planet. He knows people so well, how they tick, every detail about their lives. It's just it's amazing to be
I
able to work with
understand
somebody like that.
empathy
It's
and
true.
engagement.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to hear him talk about you.
no,
okay?
what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to decipher that for you.
You don't have to. I understood him very clearly.
She is
language?
such a bitch today. You're never wearing florals again. It makes you bitchy.
It does.
Put Cheetah back
So
on.
angry. I wear
Cheetah makes her
pants.
mellow for some
I wear
reason.
cheetah a lot. It's my thing.
Jesus Christ.
You get
It
clients who don't listen. You get clients who aren't intelligent enough to understand sort of the speak. You get clients who, despite knowing everything, will just refuse to
Yeah.
appreciate
There's a lot of
it.
clients that just totally disengage. You handle this. They don't
Yeah.
even want to participate. They're like, that's why I hired you. You handle this.
Yeah.
And you like
Which makes it hard. It's a partnership.
Yeah.
Attorney-client relationship is a partnership.
Believe me, Joe, there were times that I just wanted to say that. Can you just handle this? I can't do this anymore.
There-
I'm
there were,
going
like-
crazy.
the hardest part, there were a few points in time where he did get really down, and that was probably the hardest point where I had
Can
to,
you
like,
talk about that
no.
more?
No.
Can you talk
I can
about that?
say that there were moments in time where
Yeah, there were.
do you know when you just throw a towel and you're just like, I can't do this anymore? I
Because
experienced
you
that.
never present that publicly.
No,
you
never.
don't let them see you
No.
sweat. You don't let them see
No.
you cry.
Well, Botox doesn't let them see me sweat.
You guys can't see how bad
It's like, what? Sweat? What's that?
But see, George, I think the thing with you is you are a naturally jovial person. But I know you are a human being. I know, just like the rest of us, you might cry at night.
Oh, yeah.
You pray. You ask God, why me? But people don't get to see that side of you.
I just don't
You
show
don't
it.
show that
No.
side of you. So it makes you look like this Botox ice queen.
That's okay.
No, it's not okay.
You know
because-
why? Because I can tell you until I'm blue in the face that I'm a human being with feelings. Certain people just feel more comfortable demonizing me based on headlines. It's easier for them than to try to understand the complexity of a human being.
So that's why I'm asking.
You're
them.
a very different kind of human because you work with this. This is your bread and butter, understanding people.
Right.
You got to understand that 90% of the population does not have that
Black
skill
and
set.
white.
It's black and white. There's no gray. Gray doesn't exist.
That's literally why we do what we do.
Is there anything that the public could know that's not privileged about George to humanize him?
I care.
Yeah.
I care.
asking him.
Oh, okay. Sorry. My bad.
I mean, that's the answer. He's like a very emotionally intelligent, caring person.
Emotional intelligence.
I care. I mean, I genuinely care. I don't ever intend to hurt anybody, not intentionally. Now, sometimes maybe being overly blunt can hurt somebody, but it's not intentional. Or sometimes a bad joke, a little off color, like we experienced the other day, right? And it wasn't.
You did not apologize.
I did
for.
apologize
No, you
profusely.
didn't.
Okay,
No,
well,
you didn't.
well,
apologize now, or I'm not gonna move on.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
But like, and it's.
Does George talk too
Well,
much?
I do.
As a client of yours, does he talk too? Where you ever look at headlines and be like, shut up?
Maybe. Come on, guys. It's okay.
I've had those moments. I've had those moments.
There have been
As I'm
moments
wa-
where
I'm
I'm like,
watching-
Joe, wake up.
He's doing it.
I'm watching CNN and I'm like, please end the conversation. End the conversation. George, please, just period. Say thank
And
you
then,
and walk
and
away.
then what would follow after that? What'd you think? How'd I do?
Oh my God.
And they're sweating bullets.
But
Like, oh,
here's
God.
something to humanize him, as you mentioned. Like early on this thing, I was in constant contact with, and it was George's direction telling me to reach out to all these prosecutors who have questions about me. I called the Nassau DA, I called the U.S. Attorney's Office. I proactively called them before he was even charged, while this whole, investigation was
It was
going
around
on.
what? Let's say the end of January 2023. The New York Times put out an article and CNN aired it, saying that there were dozens of state, local, and federal investigations into me. I read that. I'm like, Joe, please call everybody. Like,
Yeah.
what do they want? They want my phone. Like, I have no issue cooperating with law enforcement.
Yeah.
Like, and I proactively instructed him to go do that. And no, nothing to say, nothing to talk about, and then they
And
indicted me.
everyone was so
Yeah.
cryptic with us. Oh no, we'll let you know. Is there anything you want to tell us? I'm like,
No.
tell me what you're looking for. We're not hiding anything.
Okay.
He's a member of Congress. He's a public official.
I'm going nowhere.
If there's something you need, let us know.
Right.
So it wasn't until months later where we started talking to the government and started sharing information and giving documents, and then he was so intent on his service and working, and I'm like, George, I need some time with you. And he's constantly surrounded by people, and I needed to talk to him. He's like, all right, I'll call you tonight or I'll call you tomorrow. And then like at 2 a.m, I get a phone call and he's like, what is it you want to talk about? I was like, can we do this tomorrow?
I'm asleep.
But you got to
But, like,
understand, it's DC. Like sometimes
he-
we have votes until like 1:30. Go ahead.
Okay.
It's rolling.
So there were 5 U.S. attorneys who were assigned to his case. And so every time I had a communication with them, whether it be email or a phone call, it was like a structured, hey, okay, let's schedule the call, because I think 3 of them were in D.C., one's in Brooklyn, one's in East Islip. So it was like a big thing. So I'm trying to like get this information. And I'm like, George, I have a call with these guys scheduled. Like, I need to talk to you about, this thing or
Like,
that
yeah,
thing.
I have this pesky job called being a congressman.
Yeah.
He's like,
And
I'm
he's
your
like-
lawyer. I have a pesky job called keeping you out of jail. Take the call.
And he's like, no, I have constituents in the office and I'm doing this and that. Like, I was touched by that, but I was like, at a point, I was like, George, if I'm going to be able to represent you, you have to respond to me. It was just so
It's like
difficult.
for me,
So it started
He
off.
took it so serious, that job. And that's what we want
Were you,
in our
were
elected
you possibly
officials.
avoiding having to
no,
talk
I
to
wasn't.
him?
No. So absolutely not. The problem is that I've always been a critic of members of Congress prior. If you know, like my backstory of how I go up into politics, is criticizing the lack of accountability for these people actually doing work, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat.
common
They
criticism.
don't do the work. So for me, I felt it was irresponsible for me to take time out of my own bullshit during what I deemed my work hours and deprive sitting with a constituent or speaking to the commander of Sector New York and Sector Long Island for the Coast Guard. So for me to turn around and say, hey, block my calendar for the next 3 hours because I got to go deal with personal bullshit, I'm not doing that on the government's dime.
It wasn't a dentist appointment. It's staying out of jail.
Well, I understand, but at the same time, the last thing I needed, and is why nobody can talk about my time and my record, is I never did personal stuff when I was on the clock.
And that's one of
Yeah.
the accusations.
No, that's not an accusation, and that I didn't want. of an accusation, right? And I didn't get that accusation because the last thing you want is like George Santos didn't show up to votes. George Santos didn't show up to constituent meetings. George Santos is doing
All
personal
things
shit
they
on the
say,
dime.
They can't say that.
Well, they were trying.
Which
were
is,
trying to get
they tried, but they
anything
couldn't.
could.
They tried,
Anything.
they couldn't. They tried to FOIA my
It's horrible.
office. It was nuts. So eventually I struck a balance where we would start talking early in the morning every day to get what he needed prior to me. So I just woke up a whole hour early, and that's when the 5:30.
Every day.
That's when the
Every day?
5:30,
Oh
6
my God.
o'clock
My
call
lawyer
started.
is about $5.25 per billable hour, but you're
Well,
talking to him every day.
We don't talk about that.
So let me just
we
do the
don't-
math. 'Cause every single day,
don't do
5
the
days a
math.
week,
Don't do the math.
And I don't know what your
Case,
hourly rate
House
is.
Ethics Committee.
Yeah, he did a lot for me.
Dealing with all the press, and that's why I had to call these guys. I was like,
So you
guys,
had to bring in.
I'm in over my head.
So why did you call him in? So what's special about this guy?
Well, it's me and my partner.
Him and
Okay,
Bobby.
okay, there's
Yeah.
another one that's not here.
These
Bobby's
guys
not
are
here today.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
And full disclosure, I had already met these guys back in
Yeah.
2021.
Okay.
For something like nothing consequential, but I just needed to have a team because I just had to give
So you
testimony
were
on
very comfortable with him and Bobby.
very like the
Okay.
moment I met them, I'm like, oh, I want to be friends with them.
Okay.
They are.
Because
They're
it was
great
just
guys,
so funny having
hard
like
workers.
being around them was just comfortable.
And
Yeah,
we
we-
tried a lot of cases together. We actually used to work together.
Don't give your special secrets of how you guys try.
Yeah, we don't want to tip our hand. but-
Don't let judges in the New York City area watch us and be like,
But,
I'm on to you.
Yeah, it was amazing the way we worked together. We're so different. All three of
Yeah,
us
it's really
are all
good.
different.
What's the main difference?
I mean,
He's smart.
He's a pit bull.
I'm like
a pit bull.
hyper aggressive. I think Bobby is really intelligent and like just approaches things differently.
Yeah.
And Joe just sees big picture and is really good at taking any situation and distilling it.
You know what's great about Joe too? He will turn himself into a pretzel for any situation to get his point across.
It's really incredible.
Isn't it
I mean,
insane?
Yeah, I love it.
The maneuvering he does.
very,
It's
very
mental.
good.
It's
Yeah.
mental gymnastics.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
We've won cases that we looked at each other like
How in the hell?
we were like, what does this guy want us to do?
Do you believe in everybody that you represent?
I
Are
have
you
to.
the type of
I'm
attorney
a private
that?
attorney. I don't take every client, so
Okay.
like I fired people.
Yeah.
You're very comfortable.
So there was
doing
no
that.
inclination when you looked at this case when he presented you to say, "I'm not taking."
Have you looked at the case?
Yeah, I could have fired him anytime
Hell yeah!
I
Before
wanted
I
to, but
agreed to
Yeah.
work with your ass, I looked at it.
Huh? What?
I said, absolutely, I looked.
You should read
I needed
it.
to know who exactly I was sitting.
But you should read the whole
beside.
case. It's kind of wild.
Just tell me about it later.
Yeah,
we should do
whatever.
an episode actually and break down
No,
everything.
I can't. I have a federal
Well, that's why
judge.
these
My
guys are
hands
here.
are still in her hand. My life is in her hand.
So
and I
honestly-
respect her. By the way, for the record, I respect her a whole deal because she's been really impartial in this entire
Good.
process.
Good. She's doing her job.
Unlike some other judges out there,
Yeah.
she's been phenomenally above board. So I'll, anybody is up for criticism, but I'm talking from my own personal experience.
So you're not gonna. You're an ethical attorney, which is rare.
Oh, Joe fires clients all the time.
Technically,
So
we're
you're not
all
going to take
unethical.
a case number one that you don't
Well,
believe in,
well,
but you're also not going to
allegedly.
take a case where you feel like you're going to lose. Why do you think you're going to win
Oh
this
no!
one?
No, we take cases that aren't
Yeah.
winnable. It's just
Aren't winnable.
Yeah, those are the cases that you generally counsel a client not to go to trial on.
You just negotiate.
You know, and it's about getting the client just the best deal. But
Where are we now? Deal or negotiating?
we
or
wanted to
trial?
go to trial.
We wanted to
Yeah.
go to trial.
So
This
in
was
this
a trial
particular
case.
instance, you're like, if we go to trial, we can lay out all the evidence and we can show these people that this guy doesn't deserve.
There was a lot to it.
Yeah,
It
we
got
should-
Very complicated.
Yeah.
there was much more.
Yeah, there's a lot
on the
going
table.
on there.
Because he's a public figure. Because of
never
the
seen him this
intensity of the
quiet.
media,
But you know,
there's just a lot more to it.
Imagine this. It's really tough when there's public perception
Absolutely.
to go to
Absolutely.
trial. It's just very difficult. You have to weigh that.
But
as an
you are
option.
going to trial.
No,
I don't know.
no,
Oh, you said you're not going to trial.
no. We're not going to trial. No, I have a sentencing hearing in April 25th.
Yeah.
And I say that calmly, but trust me, it freaks the shit out of me in the
You
inside.
look so calm right now.
I'm not calm.
But then I know, but I know what's
Amazing.
beneath the surface.
Yeah, it's not calmness.
You scared shitless?
I do want to pivot
Wait,
a little
wait.
bit.
Are you scared shitless?
No, I mean, look, yeah, it's my life.
How much, if with the sentencing, what are we facing?
You know what? You can speculate based on the media. They say up to
900
22
years.
years.
Yeah, 22 years.
Yeah, right.
According to the media, 22 years. So
How are we going to do our podcast for 22 years if you're locked up?
I don't know. I mean, didn't we just interview Joe Exotic recently?
It's possible. It's possible.
I'll get a phone in jail. Don't worry.
We'll make it happen.
I'll figure out a.
15-minute increments.
I'll figure out a phone. Don't worry.
Do you believe
I'm
that
kidding.
he, and I don't know if this is a,
No, that's-
probably not, should he spend a day in jail?
No,
Absolutely not.
not at all.
Absolutely not.
That's actually popular opinion too, by the way.
That you should not spend any time?
Yeah. I'm just saying. I'm like,
She's like, let me just fact check that.
Yeah,
for a
because I'm
moment."
thinking in my head,
go on social media and just go on TikTok.
social media is not a good.
It's not a real
way
place?
To choose. No, it's not a good
Okay.
way to choose because I think we get the miscreants and the putrid, pus-filled human beings that have no life.
That's
The
like real, too.
angry people. So I don't think that's a real place. That's not a good
Pus-filled.
gauge of real public.
What's a buzz-filled person?
Nasty, funky.
Okay.
Crap.
Anyway, so I want to pivot here for a
Let's
second.
pivot because he's been trying
But
to
wait,
pivot.
Nash, I just want to just clarify one
You're
thing.
not
because
pus-filled.
No, but there's a
Joe flirting.
misconception.
Are you flirting?
I just like him. I'm sorry, Tony. Oh my God, babe. You know, I just you know.
So
but if you
bad.
like, you have somebody
Y'all
right now. But
see
I have
this.
some aunties
You're
that
seeing
you
this.
could be my uncle. But you're okay. Sorry, pivot. Sorry.
I was just going to say, because there's a misconception about defense attorneys and what we do. And I used to get this a lot after having been a police officer and retiring and becoming a criminal defense attorney. And people would say to me, what are you doing? You were locking people up and now you're getting people out of jail or whatever. What we do is defend the Constitution. It's not the end justifies the means. Well, he was guilty anyway, so let's get him.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's you have fundamental constitutional protections, and if the government violates it, we call it out.
Mm-hmm.
In fact,
And that's
it's the most noble to
Yeah.
in our profession to defend somebody who is hated the most by society because you are still standing up for their basic rights.
Yeah, I know what that's like firsthand.
Yeah.
Joe,
had
let's
my-
talk about this as we pivot.
Yeah.
What's the wildest story you can tell us that's ever happened to you in your own personal life?
Oh, really? Do we have time for that?
Keep it
my
short.
God.
Wait,
But-
police, lawyer, or his?
You're gonna know. I know
wives?
what he's gonna tell you, and
Okay.
it's gonna. You're literally gonna be slack jawed. No pun intended.
How I became an attorney is just like an amazing. I pinch myself. I don't even believe this is happening. I was a cop. I joined the police department at 20 years old with a high school diploma. I was on the boxing team. One day, a friend of mine called me and said 3 detectives from the 10th precinct. I was in the 7th precinct. 3 detectives from the 10th precinct came, arrested him, handcuffed him, smacked him around. So I went to the precinct. I talked to this guy. And as soon as I mention my friend's name, he's inflating his chest. He's poking me in my chest, shoves me. So I push him back. He throws a punch, break his jaw. Now I'm like,
You still think he's sweet?
I'm in full uniform. I'm in full uniform. A 7th precinct cop in the 10th precinct. Get up. Like, what do I do?
I'm glad we get along better than he did with his coworker.
So I ended up getting arrested, make a long story short, for assaulting a police officer.
That's
So
bad.
I went through the system. I then testified at the grand jury in my own defense. No true bill. They dismissed the charges. It was 1 punch in self-defense. So they threw that out. Then they tried to fire me. I ended up getting a very good lawyer there who ended up getting me what's called a NOLO plea. You don't admit to anything, but you accept the penalty. So I keep my job. The next thing was I was sued for $1 million for his broken jaw and nerve damage. It took 8 years to go to trial. By that time, I had a criminal lawyer, civil lawyer, department lawyer, divorce lawyer. That was the first one.
Legal fees were.
I was broke. It took 8 years. And at that point where I had to now go to trial, I had no lawyer. I had to represent myself. The judge tells me, Officer Murray did an amazing job. You should consider going to law school.
Boom.
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 And now I look at myself, I'm like, what what just happened to
Where's
me?
the
And then
broken
this is
jaw?
all happening, and we're kids still.
Yeah, it was just amazing. Just
I wonder where the
amazing.
broken jaw guy is.
Yeah,
now.
do you know where he is?
Who cares? But
Yeah, I
it's
have
like,
mutual friends that know him.
Did he
Yeah.
apologize for lying and picking a fight with you? And you?
No, he
having it
probably
with his
hates your
ass?
guts.
He hates my guts.
If you
I'll tell
pick
you
a
what
fight
happened.
with somebody,
Yeah, he kind of
started
crooked
it.
He did.
He started it.
Yeah, but
you
his
finished it.
ego was too big for him to admit
Not his
that
jaw.
he did that. Yeah,
It's like
Interesting.
glass.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so that's Joe and
So-
his wildlife. So Andrew, let's get back to you.
I'm
for a
even
second.
a bigger fan now.
I don't have any stories that you can.
Who did you
close
fight,
to that.
Andrew?
No, how do you-
Whose bones did you break?
So I'm gonna be nicer because Andrew has a great singing voice. Like he's a great singer. I actually enjoy it. It's even hard to realize that this dude is the same dude singing because he has such high pitched vocals.
Thanks.
And I'm like, oh wow, look!
Really?
I think he squeezes his balls when he's singing. No. To keep
Rubber
the
bands.
it's the testosterone flow gets
Yeah.
cut, and then he's just like. Ah! Anyway, so what really got you was singing was a passion, but it's like that dream that you're like, okay, I can't live a dream. I got to go do like a real career. And that's why you opted for law. Or did that just come afterwards?
No, singing, music in general has just always been like part of who I am. I just have to do it. That sounds weird, but
No, I agree. I
Makes
love
sense.
I love music.
I just, ever since I think high school, I was in musicals, even though like I was on a sports team and I come from like a really small town where I was like straddling both like, being
A theater kid?
Yeah, a
And
theater
a varsity jock?
thespian, and then a jock. And I was just like, no matter which
How did
group
you
I
live
went
in two
to,
worlds?
I was just crushed.
Fun.
Just in high school, I was just crushed as a kid. I was just like,
Yeah.
you're either gay or you're a total douche jock,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just had to do it, and it's just one of those things. I'm just like super headstrong about it, and I've now released I think like 7 records, and I just
And you
need to
write
keep going.
and produce.
He's brilliant.
You do
yeah,
all of those
absolutely
things.
brilliant.
Yeah, I have the last like 4 records I've done with others, meaning I've written them primarily myself, but then I bring it to like a producer. I've worked with like Grammy Award winning people. My first solo record.
This is your voice.
Yeah.
So what is?
That's actually my favorite song of his,
What-
and it's on my playlist.
Okay, I don't know
So
how to
that's
classify.
one.
But
That
what's
one
the
I did
genre?
with this guy Dominic Falacaro. He's brilliant.
So if you had to be classified, then what's the genre?
So that's just straight pop.
Okay.
My first record is like jazzy pop. Second record was a rock opera about. Actually, that's really interesting. That one is about a make believe case where there's a serial killer. He works for the mob, and he just goes out and kills people for the mob. And
That's
he
not
ends
me.
up getting caught.
I'm not the inspiration.
built. I got my start representing like mafia people. And so it's like built off a lot of cases that I just kind
A
of
rock opera.
ideas combined, and he ends up cooperating with the government, goes into WITSEC, and the last song is him changing his name, going into the witness protection program.
By the way, where's a song that you're going to do about my case?
it's coming. It's been brewing.
What is it going to be called? What's the title of the
Oh
song?
my goodness. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, but
gotta
that's
see.
fun. I'd love to hear that one. Because I got to say, I'm very upset at Fall Out Boy. Do you know that song where they cite lots of things that have happened throughout the decades?
Oh, they did. We didn't start the fire.
We didn't start the
Billy
fire.
Joel.
So
Oh, well-
they remade We Didn't Start the Fire and launched it in
I haven't heard
July of 2023. And everybody's like, oh, you're going to be in that song. I'm like, I should, right? They had everyone. They had George Floyd, the SpongeBob, and no George Santos. I was heartbroken.
SpongeBob.
Fucking heartbroken.
Well, you're still in SNL skits.
That's fine. Bo and Yang should win a Grammy. I swear to God.
Hey, you made Time Year in Review.
I mean, yeah,
Time
not
magazine.
the most flattering work I've ever had. But I'm looking forward to the song.
Yeah.
Very
I love
much.
it how it's presumed that I'm going to be writing.
You're going to write a
your
song
case.
about me.
You're definitely.
This is now a mandate.
It's going to happen.
I'm going to do
Yeah.
a poll live when this show airs,
Yeah.
and I'm going to say, should Andrew write a song
No, we should
about
ask for the title.
me?
What the title should be.
No, just yes or no, and then I'll just dump the pressure of social media on him and be like,
do it. I'll
y'all
do
know
it.
what to do, boys and girls.
Yeah, I would love to.
Should Andrew write a song about George Santos?
So can we re-pivot back to this case?
Go ahead, sure.
You know, music is amazing. We're all music fans, but pushback. Have you guys gotten any hate mail, comments on social media, people coming up to the office about working or representing, defending this guy?
Did we get any? I mean,
Yeah, like, do you have any interesting stories to
You
share?
mean, has it stopped yet? Yeah.
Oh, so it started. When did it
Yeah.
start?
Oh, right away. As soon as that article came out,
When your names were dropped, it's like,
people started, chiming in,
where do
about
they
what
chime in?
I would
Joe
get.
had a Freudian slip in the very beginning with a misquote for Winston Churchill.
But I actually Googled that just to get the
He did
exact
say
quote.
it, but it wasn't his quote. to
Yeah,
say.
it was.
He
it wasn't
quoted someone.
originated with Churchill,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
he did.
So that's how
say
they
it.
got
So-
onto Joe. And
Oh,
it became
okay.
a big
So it's
deal.
one little thing and then boom.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Then it was Swalwell who was calling me an accomplice. Who is this Joe Murray? He's an accomplice
Because
with
you guys
George
share the office.
Santos.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was thinking. And then I started getting
doesn't think.
hundreds of thousands of people.
Hundreds of thousands?
Hundreds of thousands. Right, was like 200,000 or 300,000 that responded to his tweet.
It was bad.
And then some of them were calling me. They were Googling me. I was getting, 1-star reviews.
You had to disable your review section, right? Or something like that? Or Google jumped
yeah.
in.
Wow.
So then your reputation starts to suffer. And you're getting harassed.
Not really.
Well, the online reputation from
Yeah, but-
Husfield, then that starts to happen.
Attor-
I don't know.
But attorneys don't thrive off of that stuff
Yeah,
because it's easy to point that it's a cluster, and Google usually removes them. By the way,
Yeah.
But some of them were pretty vile and
Like-
disgusting.
Okan, do you have any to play for us?
I do. I actually wanted to. I was hoping you were going to ask me that. So.
Uh-oh.
I know
Yeah.
some of them. So essentially,
It's kinda bad.
guys, Joe's gonna play some love notes he's received throughout the years of representing me.
So let's hear it, Joe.
Y'all representing some fake motherfucker like George Santos is just going to ruin your law firm. And this Joseph Murray motherfucker, yeah, good luck ever getting anybody other than a piece of shit Republican to ever hire you, you fucking moron. What the hell? You're representing this fake gay faggot? Fuck you. Fuck you, motherfucker. See you in court, dickhead.
I mean,
So
you
wait.
gotta love the Southern twang, though. You
wait,
gotta
hold
love
on.
the Southern twang in
The
that.
thing that really shook me about this, he goes, "You're only going to be able to represent Republicans after this. This is a Democrat. This is a Democrat."
The funny thing is that a Democrat that uses foul language such as faggot. Yeah, I could say that.
I
I'm
was
gay.
floored by
None
that.
of y'all
I
can
was
say
like,
it.
So who is this person?
I don't
It's just
give y'all a
like
pass.
a random person, or is this someone
Yeah, no,
that's
I
about-
would get these calls, but I saved a couple of the.
So, okay, you have more?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
let's hear it.
So
You should put this on your mixtape.
Wow, Murray, you're going to continue to lie for George Santos, the queer liar.
like a
Wow,
child.
Murray, you've sunk to an all-time low. Congratulations, you're representing lying queers.
It's like amazing.
This is like theater. This is theatrical.
I'm telling you. Oh God, no.
You have to turn his into
Yeah,
a rock
yeah.
opera. What would you call a rock opera?
Yeah, you should sample some of those.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh my
I gotta
God.
get the rights. That
100%.
means I got-
I mean, come on.
You gotta give him something. so here's an interesting thing though. Although this is all fun and dandy and we
Yeah.
laugh at it, at the time it wasn't funny. And I just want to remind everybody that a man actually, Barone, I forget his name. Can you put the guy that was sentenced for threatening to kill me in Florida? So this was in January. This guy left a detailed explanation of how he was going to kill me and my husband, Matt, in my office in Congress. And my team at the time, Gabrielle Lipsky, who was my press secretary, reported it to the chief of staff, Charlie. Charlie then said, Congressman, I got to show you something. And I'm like, what's up? And then he played it. He's like, what do you want us to do? I'm like, call Capitol Police. Capitol Police runs a quick assessment of it. And then my office is shut down the very next day because now they're
well,
in
I
suspicion.
called the chief of intel. I
Yeah,
was
so
like,
now there's a bomb
we got a
threat
problem here,
suspicion.
you know?
Now my husband I have to call my family, put everybody on lockdown because it was a real threat. The guy had a rap sheet, Priors. What's his name?
His name is Frank Stanzioni.
There you go, Frank Stanzioni.
Located in.
So
he wasn't
he's
in
local.
Boynton Beach.
He's a Boynton Beach resident. He's in Florida, and he did go to trial and lost. And
quickly 2 days.
yeah, it was a quick trial. I mean, it was slam dunk, and it was also in the heels of that guy who jumped when he went to trial. It didn't help him that a judge had just been jumped. Remember the Vegas
saw the
jump?
video.
So it was like within that same time frame. So there last year, so there's a lot of scrutiny on public officials and people attacking them. So it didn't help him. The judge was just like no nonsense, like nope.
How did it turn out for this guy?
So he got sentenced to, I think, 2 years of probation
looking
and
right now.
medical treatment of some sort. Like, you know how those sentences can be, like where you have to report to a facility for substance abuse. I was offered an opportunity to give a victim impact statement, and the feds wanted me to. I rationale things a little differently in my life. I don't want to put the finger on the scale to anybody's freedom. I just don't believe
even
in
if
that.
they threaten your life.
Yes, even if they threaten my life, because they didn't accomplish what they said
If
they
they
were going to
accomplished
do.
it, you wouldn't be able to.
I understand that, but his chances of accomplishing were also very small. Granted, the security I had afforded to me between the NYPD and Capitol Police.
Was this just a verbal threat from a
I can
whack job?
I can read it to you.
Read it, yeah.
Verbatim.
yeah.
I'm gonna have to
It's
fill
bad.
in some blank blanks. George Santos, you fat fucking piece of shit fucker, maybe fucker.
Yeah.
You better watch your motherfucking back because I'm gonna bash your motherfucking probably
Skull. Skull. It was
No,
skull.
another F word that I don't like saying. Head in with. I like curses. I don't like offensive terms.
Gotcha.
Head in with a bat until your brains are splattered across the fucking wall. We're halfway there. You lying, disgusting, disgraceful motherfucking F word. You motherfucking piece of shit. You're gonna get fucking murdered, you goddamn lying piece of garbage. Watch your back, you fat, ugly piece of shit.
That's not the whole. That's just,
You and victim 2.
yeah,
are
that's
dead.
my husband.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
essentially, yeah. So,
That's
horrible.
nasty.
yeah, but if
That's
you
nasty.
reading it is
That's-
one thing.
that's-
And
The
then you see him
intonation-
That took
smiling.
my breath away. So
What's
it's
the
like,
level of pus on that one?
That's nasty. I can't even. I don't have words. It's like
Yeah, no,
'cause
so-
I'm thinking I'm sitting next to the person that's directed at.
So it's
and,
funny
like,
now. We can all
That's
turn
not
around
funny.
and
After I
kind of
heard it,
laugh.
it's not funny
But that's
anymore.
not funny.
Still not
no,
funny.
that's not.
No,
funny
no,
at all.
guys,
terrifying.
I look at it and I'm like, I find it funny because I'm like, wow, what does it take for a person to go out of their way to do something?
like hearing
that?
those inbreds that called his phone. That's different. But
You just insulted them.
that called his phone. Those people. What's up, y'all? Y'all know y'all.
I'm back there like,
What?
yeah, whatever she
The
said.
inbreds that called and left the messages, you know your
already
grandma
said it.
is your auntie. Like, you know that. Okay? But threatening, like, that was different. You know, just
Yeah,
hearing
that
it.
was-
Was this like
It's a
an
death
email?
threat. I mean, it's a death threat.
Was this an
It's
email or a phone
voicemail,
call?
right?
It's a voicemail. That was a voicemail?
That was voicemail, yeah.
That's
Really
what I
smart.
understand, like, how you take that shit.
By the way, that voicemail was left in my official line, in a recorded official line in
Smart.
in Congress. All these recordings, we can laugh at some of them because some of them are funny, but a lot of them were really deep rooted and hurtful and worrisome, especially when you involve my family. And when you say my husband's name, I get really defensive. Like, it's my niece, my husband, my sister. Pisses me off. Like, that's when and we've seen this in this set before, where you don't cross certain lines with me because then, like, I kind of throw out all the smiley and it's just like, it's nasty. All that aside, there was a highlight of my relationship with these guys is when we decided to go sue Jimmy Kimmel. And our initial outreach to them in Andrew's amazing
cease
letter
and desist letter.
caused an ABC guy to be like, "Oh, you're a great writer."
He goes, if you don't ever want to be a lawyer again, you can come work in comedy.
You got a job offer? You got
While you're sending a cease and desist.
He's like, we died. We loved it.
It was comical.
It was probably one of the funnest things
my
we've
God.
ever.
It was so appropriate, though.
It
for-
was.
It was
for the
appropriate. It was
circumstance.
legally.
I mean, we just read it, but
Do you have it?
essentially I said, hopefully you take this letter as seriously as Mr. Santos takes his cameo appearances.
Did they read that? I believe they read the cease and desist
no.
They didn't? Okay.
No. He can't.
So you
Like,
started out with a quip. you just open the letter up like I'm going for it.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good stuff.
Because you gotta appreciate the irony of all of it. So you can't just take it too seriously. You can never take yourself too seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, look, what was the highlight of that first hearing in this Southern District?
The highlight of it?
Yeah, I have my highlight of that hearing.
I mean, I very
After it was over.
quickly realized that we weren't going to get too far in the district court.
Yeah.
It was going to have to be appealed. So
Yeah, well,
we're doing.
we're in appeals, but you know,
very, very,
Yeah.
very interesting issue.
Yeah.
do you know what was the highlight of that hearing to me?
What?
What's a furry?
Oh,
When the judge asked, "What is a furry?"
they read aloud some of the
We've had furry conversations, and I now understand what a furry is.
I'm obsessed with it now. Ever since this
Yeah,
entire
really
lawsuit, it's like, wow, furries. And
So,
the judge
Andrew,
asking.
just looking toward the future, because I can tell that everybody here is an optimist. What are you hoping for George in the future?
that
What
he
are we
has a
predicting?
successful career in entertainment.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
don't
know
wanna
you
go
will.
back to
I mean, it's
politics.
just
I don't want-
honestly, like he would be great in politics as well. I just don't know.
Yeah.
That,
President, perhaps?
Maybe if the doors reopened for him in some way, but to the extent there were lessons to be learned from this situation, he's
Yeah.
definitely learned them.
Oh, yeah.
And moving forward, he's just got a bright future. I mean, he's got like a ton of ambition, intelligence, do anything he wants. He's young.
I would say I do. It's just
You
that I
ain't
already
that
did it
young.
once. Actually, twice. So I can't do it a third time.
Also, he said you're young. I'm like, George is not that young.
You're hating. I'm 36. I'm not even in my 40s yet. So excuse you.
Anyway,
All right. So 2 truths and a lie, guys. This is a time where you come up with 3 statements,
About myself?
whatever you want it to be, that preferably about yourself. 2 of them are truthful and 1 is a lie, but we need to guess which one is the lie.
One thing is that while I was in high school, I performed we had a play called Oliver Twist. I don't know if you're familiar with that. And I tried out for the lead, but I got cut.
Okay. What else?
Second one is I played a judge on TV.
Okay.
And third one is I passed the bar on the first try.
I don't know. The
Oliver
play thing
Twist.
seems kind of true. You look like you were a dorky kid.
I was.
and
So, like, did you pass the bar on the... Joe, I don't think you
he
passed
had-
the bar on the
he
first
was an
try.
excellent
Well, I'm
self-representing.
glad you have that opinion of me. So.
Okay. Gosh. You know
on.
what? I'm going to go on a limb and say he passed the bar on the first
So
time
you
because
think-
I don't see an Oliver Twist.
I think he was a dorky kid.
We connected right from the
Really?
moment I walked
So you
in
never
the
tried
door.
theater?
No.
You passed the bar the first
No.
time?
Yeah. I
know
Did you pass
Joe.
the bar the first time?
Yeah.
Oh, I have good attorneys.
Well, I know Joe.
Holy shit.
You do. Thank God.
I'm telling you, right from the
Well,
moment.
guys, this was really lovely. Thank you for doing
It
this.
was fun.
And by the
Yeah.
way, I would super encourage people to go look up Andrew's music on Spotify. It's pretty
Oh,
fun.
yeah,
What is it called?
Absolutely.
Andrew Mancilla.
Mancilla.
Ah.
Yeah.
We should like dance
Clever
out
name.
to his song.
Oh, we
Yeah.
should.
All right, we'll play it out.
Yeah,
Play it
we
out.
should have
Play it out.
Okay.
Whew, that's Joe.
So-
That's Joe.
Okay. Oh, were you flirting with Joe Murray?
I like Joe.
You were flirting with Joe Murray.
No, I'm not going to say I'm flirting because I'm
But you were
very
flirting.
happily married.
I know
woman.
you were married, but that doesn't
happily
mean
married woman.
that's
I
totally
also-
fine.
But this is like
You were flirting with Joe Murray.
in another circumstance, in another life.
Daddy.
I was like, I don't know. Joe did something.
You know what's
He
funny?
has a certain je ne sais quoi about him. I don't.
Joe is
I have to
that
talk
guy.
to my therapist about that.
You
Like, what
legit
is
said
that?
je ne sais quoi, really?
Je ne sais quoi. Little je ne sais quoi. Right.
Look, I think Joe has the zhuzh. I mean, I love Joe. Joe's
Yeah.
like, I love him. He's like a really good guy, and he's just so calming. So he has this calming effect of
Maybe
him.
that's what it was, his energy.
Yeah, I mean, and then there's Andrew, which I love Andrew. I mean, you didn't meet Bobby, who was sick. I'm just
Bobby
gonna
has COVID,
I'm
so,
gonna believe he has
yeah,
COVID when I
yeah.
see he has COVID.
I understand a bit more about you because me, probably like a lot of people, well, people out there want to see George Santos crumble. And there's something about you straight up that presents as this not human person, but then people also dehumanize you at the same time. So it's this crazy mix of what happens. So I do understand you more. You let us in a little bit more today.
Just a little bit.
You gave us a little bit
tip.
more, and I appreciate that. I do. And the guys, they really helped. They were.
Was it enough for you, Joe Barone?
It was. I would love to have them on again after the case is closed and we could talk about more. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Obviously, there's a lot of lines that we can't cross.
Of course. Out of respect to the process.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, they were great, man. I enjoyed it.
I love the guys. I mean, if I could, I wouldn't change a single bit about my legal team. I just love them.
You
They're
have a
just
whole team.
They're
You
great
got a
people.
whole army behind you.
Hey, look, if you got Jesus and God behind you, you didn't need no one else.
All right. Amen,
And,
somebody.
and I mean that. I mean, I don't want to be facetious and snarky and just say the Lord's name in vain. I really mean that. I believe that too.
You pray?
I do. I actually do. I do pray. I pray, thank you for giving me one more day to wake up.
Yeah.
I go to bed saying, well, thanks for whatever that was today.
And y'all listen, the same Jesus and God that y'all pray to, George Santos does too. So he's hearing all of our prayers. So just remember that, guys, and be kind. We got a chance to hear some awful, awful things that people have said. So I can't personally imagine what it's like having to ingest that and still wake up and smile and put your clothes on every day. A lot of people don't have to deal with that. So
I honestly don't know how to not be myself. And this is who I am, always smiling. I have a larger than life personality, and I think that's with me forever. And I don't know, it's not fake. It's just like, I'm not an act, right? This is how I behave. I don't want people to think that I'm unbothered. Of course I'm bothered. I'm worried. I understand those things. I don't let it consume and take the forefront. I deal with that stuff in private, and I go about my life day to day. And then people say, oh, he doesn't atone. What does that even mean? Should I curl up in a ball and stay in that fetal position forever because that's what atoning is expected? So that's why
I was thinking about that on the
I don't
drive
understand.
over. I know you don't read the comments, and it's great for our mental health. I go check them out sometimes, and I say, okay, what do people want you to do? Do they want to see you suffer and curl up in a ball and die? Like, do they want to see me?
Give me the whip.
Do they want to see me give you 20 lashes? Like, would that make people feel better?
Well, then that's actually okay. Wait,
Shut up, George.
Wait, are you threatening me with a good time? I got some ideas if we're gonna go there.
I'm so curious as to the general public. Do you want to see the guy go away? Do you want to see him perish? Do you want to see him just evaporate? And then how will your life be better if George Santos goes away? I would love for people in the comments to tell me, how would your day-to-day life be better if George Santos all of a sudden evaporated? I really want to know what people would say to that.
I will say
not
this.
a damn thing. It wouldn't. Your life would not improve if this dude went away.
Careful what you wish for, because if I do go away, a lot of access and transparency to even the stuff that I do focus on today, which is holding people accountable in government, will go away with me. No one else is doing it. I'm the only one that does it. So hate me or love me, at least I call their bullshit out all the time.
And listen, he's here, so we all got a job, so we want him to stay.
Anyway, it was so great to do this. I had so much fun with Joe and with Andrew. I think they were just so generous with their time. And like Barone said, once this is all adjudicated and we can speak a little bit more freely without disrespecting the process, I'd love to have them back. And maybe we'd bring Bobby out from being sick.
You're going to leave Bobby alone. Oh, my
Anyway.
God.
This was this week's episode of Pants on Fire with George Santos and my illustrious co-host, Naja Hall. We'll see you next week.
Lord,